Mamelodi Sundowns were playing in the Champions League final, second leg, in which they actually lost, unfortunately, to Pyramids, new kid on the block, a team that it was established by very wealthy Saudi Arabians in 2018. They don't really have much to offer as a club in terms of history, but they've actually proven themselves in recent years until now. They've had a very, very good season. I think these are one of the seasons where Sundowns would have actually poised themselves to be, would have been an easier final than before. I mean, they had a good run. They had a good semi-final against Al Ahly where they fought against a very tough crowd. And wrapping up the Premier League in good fashion, having to have won it 8 times in a row. They came out favorites. They've been one of the most exciting teams to watch in Africa, the most feared after Al Ahly at certain moments. So, you would have expected a, a celebration from their side, so them having to have a second star and all that. But wasn't to be. Pyramids proved to be a very, very tough side. So we want to unpack what happened today. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you've been enjoying the content. If you are coming to or you're coming across this video for the first time, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep sharing the video. It helps the algorithm to share it to more people like yourself. So, look, man, to fans with Sundowns. Ngayese bafethu, ngayese. With me being a Chiefs fan as well, but a football fan first. For 8 years, Sundowns have been trying. The last time they were in the final was in 2016 when they actually won it. I did a video the last time. I did cover a couple of games, their run in the league, how they've gotten reprieve and certain fixtures were moved out of the way. I think the league tried their level best to support the best way they can so that they can prepare. And they've invested a lot in the squad. I mean, if you can pull up the sheet in the last 8 years, how much money they've spent. I mean, only since 2021 until now, they've spent close to plus minus 300 million rands in building a team that is competent enough to win the Champions League. I mean, not even once, maybe like each and every season. Maybe in the last 5 years, they would have liked to win it maybe twice, maybe 3 times, especially after Beat. Coaching people have come and gone. I mean, a lot of fans on the side are calling for Ronaldo's name. There's been questions asked about how Mangoba was actually let go. And also Cardoso coming in with his experience. Don't get me wrong, he's a good coach. But there's been sentiment of chopping and changing of coaches, even though they actually look like a good side in the Premier League. They didn't really look like they skipped a beat. But I guess with the technical changes at this critical moment where it would have blinded or silenced a lot of critics, now the club is under the spotlight. I mean, from the president to the the technical director in terms of the choice of personnel, recruitment, and the money being spent. I mean, pyramids themselves. I mean, I think they would have probably chopped the coach if they haven't won. Um, Even though they're not, but they're ambitious club. Even though they haven't won things in the past, or so many things in the past, this season for them, I think they're chasing a treble. If their squabbles get sorted out, apparently Al Ahly and them also are in a dispute to it's a boardroom kind of thing now. So no champion has been confirmed in the Premier League of the Egyptian Premier League. So these two teams come together at a crossroads where both teams really are looking for glory in Africa. But with Sundowns being a season campaigner, each and every season, at least they're in the knockout stages, they've been knocking on that door, man. And you could feel like they wanted it more. But when you look at the game, preparations from the first leg, if you had to ask me, I'll tell you for free. I think they may have actually lost it in the first leg. I mean, when you're playing at home, you try to win it there. You try to make sure. I mean, this home and away kind of set up for CAF. It's very rare in the world. I mean, all finals are played once. As we know, it's because they're trying to make sure that the tournament gets the credibility that it deserves. Where both sides, since they don't have traveling fans, they can have an opportunity to watch their club play final at the very least. So with this kind of system, away goal always would favor the ones who scores away from home. So I think looking at how Kodose sets up the team for the final, I think the fans, it's their voices need to be heard. I also had questions about obviously chopping off if you have players that are experienced enough to be, selected for the club. So those things also come to a decision to understand, Kuti, okay, but couldn't you have chosen a different kind of lineup? Certain players like Kutemba Zwane maybe should have been given the opportunity as well, because he didn't even play, mind you. Both legs he didn't play. So, hey, people are angry. People are angry. I think this one hurts the most. Where I think we don't even Al Ahly, don't even Esperance, don't even Wida. You don't have those giants in the final. Just have Pyramids who have had an absolutely good season. So they're not pushovers, but you would think also they're an Egyptian side that hasn't much. They don't have pedigree when it comes to the final. So for them, they will pinch themselves 1,000 times because maybe according to them, they thought they had an easier final. But leaving it up to the second leg, oh, leaving up to the second leg for me, I think this is where it costs Sundowns a bit more. But looking at the lineup from the first leg, coming back to my point, I feel like him going for a different approach because Sundowns still plays a position game, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't look like the potent team that we've accustomed to from the Akolani days, from Ubito, and also from Okadoso. If you'd ask me, I feel like they're taking corners at sometimes because you buying expensive players or buying from Brazil or your South American players so that you can keep the same philosophy, if you will, of playing position football, having quality in front, having a good defense, and suffocating the opponents as such. And they've looked well when it comes to domestic football. Knockout stages, they look like the team that is hard to beat. But of late, if you look at their record, they haven't won by more than 3 or 4 goals. Convincingly, mind you, because they still push, but there's too much possession football that's played at the back. They don't penetrate as they should. And I saw Pyramids in the second leg. They came out to play. I mean, the first leg, yes, conservative at times, mid block here and there, and they took their chances well and they were very patient. But with this team, in the second leg, playing at home, they pressed Sundowns at times, even though Sundowns were still composed. I think the final or the second leg, man, they don't really look like even they look they shut off themselves even in the second leg because first half um, they didn't really create big chances for me, unless we talk about the Matthews chance late in the second half where he could have equalized. I think that chance could have changed the game. But you see, those are the moments that we can count. Now you're leaving it to the second leg. Now they're rushing their balls. I mean, even the goal that they scored was controversial. And Shalulili had a chance as well. If you leave it at that time, that late, anything could happen. I mean, emotions are high. There could be a miss here and there. And I mean, Cardoso himself, even having to play the type of football that the players themselves are not used to in that critical mode, and I think that's the talking point for me. They started playing a lot of long balls, crosses, coming from the sides, like they look like a North American team, almost like an Italian team, which is now negative football. But when you're playing position, coming to the first leg, goals are important. I mean, no one remembers the amount of passes that you've made. But when you win it and you score when you're supposed to, and I think themselves, again, you score one goal, you keep the ball. Pyramids were not sitting back like Al Ahly. They were not sitting back. So they were threatening at times, break attacks, counter. They have a quality player like Mayele, where he doesn't need an invitation. This guy, he's a goal poucher. Doesn't need much. Just give him that space, snapshot, will punish you, like what happened in the second leg, the first goal. And obviously they got in crosses. That's something that they've played well against when they're playing Pirates. You saw that Pirates were struggling when they started playing their long balls, and they beat them with a set piece now. So I don't think Cardoso prepared the team well, in my opinion. And obviously there is that debate of him not using Umshishi. As much as he hasn't played enough games, especially him coming back from injury and later on where the team has carried the results until the finals. But maybe having a character like him on the pitch could have been a difference. Yes, Ribeiro is there. Yes, Shalili is there. Mutau is there. And obviously, Adams in that midfield is very young. I mean, you have Mayema as well that you could have used. He comes and put in Abo Lebu Mutiba, which he hasn't played. That was his debut. So I don't know if it's safe to say that the coach is not the only person who's making changes in the dressing room, because now that was very left field. It caught everyone by surprise, where maybe Arenas and Chalulu would have been enough. Sales as well, the way he was using him again. One point you're using him as a 10, now you're using a double. I don't know if it was a front three, because you have him, you have Motive, and you have Peter Shawulile. All those people are not ball players. And if you're looking to play long balls and wanting to score with aerial balls, that's an obvious choice. In a final local, not maybe in 20 minutes, these guys have to stop playing, combining, trying to break them from the inside. And obviously, Pyramids are going to be smart enough to defend deep. So those are the kind of pockets, or that's the information I'm starting to get, and I'm trying to understand what kind of planning, what kind of information your analysts were giving to you, so that you can actually break pyramids. And because they're decent side, they can score, they can come to you, they're not intimidated, they have a solid midfield. All around, you do have the quality to at least get a goal or two, control the game, and make the game, or make them come to you. But at times, it seems like Pyramids are creating better chances than Sundowns, even though Sundowns know how to control the ball. When they're pressing them high, they looked uncomfortable at times. As much as we can blame the mistakes from Umodiba and Kekana, but it was coming. It was coming because there was a snapshot that they had, there was a few chances. The whatever chance they got, they were willing to use. And I think it reminds me of a game against Barca and Inter, I think in the first and the second leg, where they would let you have the ball, but when they attack, they make sure that whatever attack that they're cooking, whether it's a 3v2 or they kept on the break or it's a counter, or they were actually pressing high. When they get the ball, they look threatening. With Sundowns, when they attack, the chances that they create, you can literally count. The shots that they take, they go all the way out, not on target. So they don't look like the quality that we're used to, which they're very focused, they punish, the passings are crisp, they break. I mean, Matthews is, at the top of my head, is the only chance that Sundowns has. So it's a sad tale when you look at the fact that they're always there, they are favorites each and every year, but also they come short. And a team that just comes out of nowhere, starts winning things and wins enough games and had the spirit as a team to go the way, and finally they are champions. So my take on the game, I think for them, they have themselves to blame. They have everything. They have the quality. Like, you can't even, who you going to blame? It's not like there's a player or two. Yes, maybe you've used players wrongly, but the Temba Zwane question, it will stick with the fans, and the coach, Ukadoso, he himself has to look himself in the mirror and ask the question: if I Temba Zwane on, could he have given me more? Or do I take my own approach and start playing the football that I actually think can give me results? Which now you're using aerial ball. This is why you got the idea of putting Ulebu, giving him his debut in the final. You're putting Usales and you're putting Shalu at the same time. What kind of football are you telling? What are you telling the fans? What kind of football, or the brand of football that you want to play? So for me, that final, it was very sad to see that Sundowns had an opportunity to really win this one and get a second star for themselves. So, as football would have it, It's not to be, they have to try next year, but at least they have the Club World Cup, which we're going to cover somewhat next week. I think they're playing this weekend. Their first game against the, I think it's Flamingo or Fluminense. We're gonna cover that. But once again, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me see you in the next video.